In the 31st century, Toyo Corp invented Stargate technology. With this, humanity was easily able to get to planets we could only dream of. At first, governments and companies had many disputes as to who would own what they have found. Eventually, they came to an agreement. They would both venture into the endless space, setting up more colonies, and companies like Toyo Corp would sell the resources they mined from the planet to advance this project even further. And this is where we come in. As a prospector, we are sent to a far-off planet with the goal of setting up large machines and completing as many orders as we can. So we land on our designated planet and get to work. We quickly get interrupted by our AI overlooker. It explains that in order for us to obtain more recipes to expand our workflow, we have to prove to the higher-ups that we are worth the investment. And I mean, this robot already has access to all the blueprints, so I don't see the need to invest any time or money into getting it to us. And we also have to build it using our own resources we find on the planet anyway? So this just sounds like a progress halter so that they can feel like they're in control. So basically nothing changed over the last few centuries. We get a short tutorial that explains how to harvest and build. Things you would think they would teach a prospector before they sent him off to the random planet, but we already know Toyo Corp makes weird decisions. After lasering down some trees, I crafted a few supply lines. These would transfer electricity from our ship or power generators to either ourselves or any transformers that we build. And no, I do not mean the supercars. These convert power and send it directly to any other machine within a small radius, like the furnace we had to build, so we could take the ores we collected and smelt them into bars. Our next task was to construct an exporter so we could finally complete orders and earn some cash. I was out harvesting some organics and minerals when I stumbled upon a rune gate. This looks like some alien portal, but it's not active. Unable to interact with it for now, I left to continue what I was doing. After I got enough supplies, I began work on an exporter when our power grid failed. This ship was not able to generate enough solar energy to keep both the furnace and exporter running, so the company allowed us access to a glorious wind turbine. This would generate more electricity, and depending on how windy the location is where you place it, the more power we get. I held back the urge to build a massive wind farm, as we were still under training and that would probably not look great as we hadn't made them a single penny yet. With the exporter back online, I took a look at the orders we had. All of these required ores we did not have, so it was time to go out and explore. Along the way, I discovered more alien ruins. This must have been from an ancient civilization, as the only other living creatures I've seen so far were some weird looking deer and these exploding crabs. After taking a tactical nap to restore my health, I found the ores that we were looking for. Not only that, but I also got a skull collectible. There were multiple of these scattered around the planet, but I have no idea what to do with them yet. With everything we needed in hand, I rushed back home and sent out our first order. This was not enough to increase our rank at the company, which makes sense as we spent a lot of time running around and only completed one request. I built a silo to house some of our useless items and went out collecting again. I found some more alien collectibles, battled dangerous hermit crabs, and mined every rock I came across. This was more than enough to rank up, and we unlocked the mineral extractor. So yup, turns out I did not need to collect that many manually. I built one at the basic mineral spot and hooked it up to a silo via conveyors. This would automatically take everything out of the drill, as its inventory could only hold up to 16 pieces at a time, while the silo could hold many stacks of 999. But I didn't stop there. I also constructed 2 more for both the yellow and blue ores and connected them to the same silo. Now that we have a steady flow of resources coming in, they wanted us to repair the Uphalia robot, which requires a few bars, so I get to smelting. After some easy repairs, this turned out to be a dog-like robot that could help us carry heavy objects, fight in battles, and we could ride for a significant speed boost. And this is where I thought the quest had ended, as nothing new showed up. So I looked through the structures to see if we could build anything new, when suddenly I got a message that something crashed onto the planet. This could potentially have some new resources for us, so I made my way towards the marker the AI added to our compass. It took a little while to get there, and it turns out this was another ship that looked very similar to ours. Sadly, it looks like this person didn't make it. So we took the ship apart for some bars and a large steel beam, when we suddenly got a transmission from a person called Zuri, a deep space salvage and repair expert. He picked up the steel beam on his radar and gave us an offer we can't refuse. Like literally, there's no option to say no. If we bring salvage back to our base, we could send it up to Zuri's ship, and he will help us set up Stargate. This will allow us to interact with other people in this sector and complete jobs for them to make more money. So we pick up the beam and head back to the base. This plays a cutscene of us shooting it up and Zuri grabbing it. And you better like this visual, as you're gonna see it every time you find one. Of course, one is not enough, so we marked another on our compass. While making our way over, I found this weird purple tablet that our dogbot could pick up. I saw this back at the rune gate, as there were 2 circular spots in front of it, and when hovering over it with the cursor, it showed that we needed these. So I quickly brought it back and set out again. When I got close, a health bar suddenly showed up on screen, and lightning came from all sides. Not only that, but jellyfish-like creatures floated up towards us in order to kill us. I wanted to take a step back and get a supply line over, as we were going to need the electricity to recharge our laser. But I died due to lack of oxygen. So it turns out that the supply lines don't only provide power to our tools, but also oxygen. With this new knowledge, we made our way back and hopped into our bot. He had 2 massive lasers and a way higher defense than us, so we could tank a few lightning attacks. Besides that attack, the boss can also summon minions, so we switch between him and the small fry and occasionally hop out and repair our big buddy. Not too long after, we defeated the Australian-sized jellyfish and got the second steel beam we needed. I made my way back home, watched the long cutscene again, and now we have the ability to open a new Stargate. However, we need 2,000 coins for that, which we don't have, so it was time to actually do our job. In between orders, I did some exploring and set up a tree farm. And now that we have the cash, it is time to open the portal. This will connect us to Valaris Prime, a cold planet with a small population of researchers. We came into contact with a person called Agnes. She asked us if we could help her out with some research. The moths on that planet are in hibernation for most of the year due to the extreme cold. She would send over a queen larva and a recipe to build a habitat. This would spawn more eggs, and if placed near trees, they will produce resin and other materials. After opening the box, a small drone popped out with the egg. This one seemed to have snuck in before shipping. Luckily for us, they have no use for it, so we can keep it. And this little guy will help us mine resources, so we are slightly faster. I set up the moth incubator slightly south of our ship. This was still close by and also had a lot of trees. While it was laying eggs, I hooked it up to a silo near our base. It looked like these eggs did not hatch by themselves. We needed to feed them some berries or the blue glowing mushrooms. After feeding one, it popped out and flew towards a tree. It is now encased in sticky resin, and the moth will bring some back to the incubator every once in a while. The opening of the egg also gave us some random materials. However, in order to send this up to Agnes, we needed to put them in a sample dish. The AI informed us that we got permission to use the lab blueprint to complete these orders. The Toyo Corp values a good relationship with other companies and is happy that we are helping them out. While I doubt that this is their true intent, I'm happy enough that we can now complete the orders. Our next quest lets loose a lot, as we have to complete enough orders for the planet Valaris. To get this done faster, I started expanding our farm to grow more berries, mushrooms, and marshmallows. During this, I also learned that the material veins can run dry. It seems to only harvest 1,000 per node, and while this meant that we did not have an infinite supply, I also did not bother replacing it, as we had more than enough ores for now. So I just went on with the job, hatching moths, crafting samples, and shipping them out. It took some time, and I even set up a second exporter, but we did it. We completed every order for Agnes. As thanks, she spoke to our boss and gave us the go-ahead to include Valaris to the list of planets that we can harvest resources from. However, we currently have no way of getting off this planet. And this is where our buddy Zuri gives us a ring. Like some stalker, he immediately knows our situation and comes up with a solution to the problem. He could build a rocket for us if we brought him the materials necessary to make it. These were just some bars and plates, so it was surprisingly easy. Or so I thought. After looking at it again, he also wants to get paid, and we need another steel beam. The money was easy as we already had enough. The beam, on the other hand, we need to go out and get. There are multiple locations marked on the compass, each presumably leading to one. So I picked a random one and went on my merry way. It was quite the walk as there was a river in the way, but other than that, it was smooth sailing. We took it back to base and sent it up. Zuri finished the rocket in seconds, making me think that he just had a spare one, and this was more of a payment rather than necessary materials. But we could now travel between planets, so I hopped into our ship and flew up to... Yeah, you cannot tell me that this is the rocket he built. Well, no matter what it looks like, it got us to Valaris. This planet seems to have completely different materials for us to harvest. And some old human ruins. This used to be an autonomous mining operation, but that seems to have been quite a while ago, as it now lays in ruins. The AI informs us that repairing it is not part of our job. If we do decide to fix it up anyway, the company will give us a huge reward. And that is where our journey ends today. Leave a comment if you want to see me play more of this game. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.